It's Wednesday, April 15th. This is CTV at 6. Here's what's making news tonight. 2 Navy members are charged in connection to the death of another sailor in Halifax. The sour taste of a milk price hike and why it's more expensive here.
No doubt the weather has turned a bit gloomy on us. I'll have when we can expect our next nicer April day in the extended forecast.
Live from our Maritimes News Center, this is CTV News at 6. Here is Todd Battis.
Good evening. Thanks for being with us. Military police have laid charges following the death of a Royal Canadian Navy sailor in Halifax last year. Petty Officer Second Class Gregory Applin died after a vessel capsized during a training exercise in Halifax. 2 naval members are now facing several service offenses. We have CTV's Hafsa Arif in the newsroom with us. Hafsa, what can you tell us about this?
After more than a year-long investigation, military police say they now have enough evidence to move forward with charges in the death of Petty Officer Second Class Gregory Applin. The 38-year-old sailor was on board a rigid inflatable boat, similar to the one you're seeing on screen in the Bedford Basin. According to the Department of National Defense, the vessel capsized in freezing conditions during a training exercise. Applin and another sailor were pulled from the water and taken to hospital, where Applin later died. 2 members of the Royal Canadian Navy are now facing charges. Master Sailor David Terry, who was serving on HMCS Montreal at the time of the alleged offense, is charged with criminal negligence causing bodily harm and negligent performance of military duties. Sailor First Class Alexander Garrison faces a charge of dangerous operation of a conveyance causing death, along with negligent performance of military duties. In a joint statement, the Royal Canadian Commander Vice Admiral Angus Topshee and Chief Petty Officer First Class Pascal Harrell said, "We are also extremely mindful that an incident like this almost never results from a single cause or single error, and it's almost likely the outcome of a combination of factors." The Department of National Defense said today the case will now go through an independent legal process within the military justice system in the coming months. Todd?
Thank you, Hafsa, and we will certainly be watching that. Hafsa Arif leading us off in the newsroom tonight. 5 people accused in a conspiracy to commit murder case appeared in a Moncton courtroom this morning. 1 woman and 4 men were charged last fall with conspiracy to commit the murder of Silvio Saunier. He's the son of Bernard and Rosemarie Saunier, who were shot and killed in their Dieppe home in 2019. Jansen Baker, Nicholas Bain, Jesse Logue, Christopher Lennon, and Monique Boyer are the individuals who are charged. Baker was recently found guilty of 2 counts of first-degree murder in the deaths of Bernard and Rosemarie, his wife. All 5 have had their matters adjourned until next month. 1 person remains in hospital and another is dead following a highway collision in New Brunswick earlier this week. The crash is thought to have happened when a vehicle swerved to avoid a moose. As CTV's Avery McRae tells us, it happened on a stretch of road without wildlife fencing.
Hundreds of cars drive up and down New Brunswick's Highway 7 every day. While the road connecting St. John and Fredericton is well worn, it doesn't mean drivers are always comfortable behind the wheel.
7's a really scary highway, especially at night.
On Monday night, just before 8:30, Grand Bay Westfield RCMP responded to a 2-vehicle collision on Highway 7. The accident was believed to be caused when the southbound vehicle swerved to avoid a moose, striking the northbound car head-on, resulting in the death of a 31-year-old man. The driver of the southbound vehicle was taken to hospital with life-threatening injuries.
The southbound driver does remain in hospital, getting care for some serious injuries.
Are they still in serious condition, or would you say they're in stable condition now?
What we can say right now is they still have serious injuries and they're still receiving care.
The section of road where the accident occurred did not have wildlife fencing. This is the second serious moose-related accident on the highway in the past 5 months, after a couple from St. John struck a moose on another section of the highway where the fencing was down.
It makes me very hesitant about driving the highways, especially around dusk.
The lack of fencing isn't exclusive to this stretch of road. Pam Hoban just did a road trip around the province.
All kinds of signs for moose everywhere. Every probably 10 or 15 minutes you would see a sign, but As far as moose fencing, it was very intermittent throughout the province.
While few are against the idea of more fencing, resident Tanya Bishop says the problem is getting someone to maintain it.
The fences are falling down, the trees are on it, everything's down. Nobody wants to own it, nobody wants to maintain it, which is just causing more of an issue with everything.
According to a New Brunswick Department of Transportation and Infrastructure spokesperson, around 331 kilometers of provincial highways do have fencing and are constantly monitoring the roads to see where more fencing may be needed. Ava McRae, CTV News, St. John.
Police in Pictou County, Nova Scotia, are investigating a string of very particular thefts from a cemetery. Here's what's missing. Officers are looking for whoever broke off and stole multiple metal vases from the top of headstones at a cemetery on Elmer Road in Sylvester. More than 60 of the ornaments have been ripped off in the past few weeks. Staff say they weren't removed for maintenance purposes. If you know anything about it, the RCMP would like to hear from you. There's a live look at the city of Edmundston right now, where it's currently 7 degrees. Looks like a generally pleasant evening there. Let's bring in CTV meteorologist Kayla Mitchell for our first look at the weather. It looks like something's on its way in.
Yeah, there might be some showers on the doorstep of areas like Edmundston as we're making our way into the first part of this evening. The rain and the showers that moved through the Maritimes last night into this morning generally brought in some rainfall amounts of around a few to several millimeters. There were a few spots, though, that reported some rainfall totals a little bit closer to 20 millimeters, including in around the Halifax area. Now, as that round of rain and showers exited, we were left with cloudy, cool, and still damp conditions, with remaining wet weather mostly in the form of drizzle in the region. Now, as we're making our way into the evening, along with drizzle, it's still present for parts of the Maritimes, there is a chance of some showers coming into western areas of New Brunswick. That's showing up here on the greens in radar. And the cloud cover and the damp weather is going to remain in place for tonight. Further patchy showers, drizzle, and fog tonight, accompanied by a pretty overcast sky that will carry on into Thursday. And the reason for that is right now we're sitting along the stalled out weather front that basically extends from the Midwestern United States up through southern Ontario and southern Quebec that have seen a good deal of rain as well over the past couple days. We're really going back to the start of this week with some issues for parts of those provinces when it comes to some saturated ground no longer being able to absorb some of that rain. Thankfully, we haven't had too much of that as an issue here in the Maritimes, and then of course extends out across the Maritime region. It's a very slow moving frontal boundary, so basically remains in place. Additional rainfall amounts over the next 24 hours in most cases, maybe up to now around another few millimeters, however a little bit more possible up around that northwestern corner of New Brunswick, could be up to around 10 millimeters there. There is a break in this weather pattern coming up at the end of this week. Finally, on Friday, a low-pressure system moving past, and in behind it, an area of high pressure that should give us a pretty fair weather start to the upcoming weekend. I'm happy to say that, Todd. And we'll take a look at that when I'm back with the long-range forecast a little bit later on.
Okay, we'll see you in about 15 minutes or so for that. Thank you, Killen. With the price of fuel right now, you'd think gas stations would be raking it in. Instead, Nova Scotia retailers insist they're operating on the edge. And CTV's Callum Smith tells us why the euphoria of a tax break will be short-lived around here.
As receipts print out at the gas station come Monday, a line will be missing.
It's going to be about a $4 to $8 savings for the average Canadian every fill-up.
Well, diesel will only see a 4-cent a litre reduction. Gas will be 10 cents cheaper, following Ottawa's plan to temporarily cut the federal fuel tax. But it could partially be cancelled out, as the 3-cent a litre increase for the summer blend kicks in tomorrow in the Maritimes. But
there may not be an implicit 3-cent a litre difference, because, again, if the wholesale price of gasoline declines following oil today, that will likely offset any potential increase from happening.
Suffice to say, many factors at play, all concerning to the Retail Gasoline Dealers Association, who represents over 100 independent stations in Nova Scotia. So much so, they've asked the Energy Board for an emergency interim change to retail margins from the current 5 to 10 cents per litre.
The cost of fuel is going up, their visa fees go up, and their wages go up, their power bill goes up. All of the cost of operating a business continues to increase, and while that's increasing, it's taking out of their margin, and there's no mechanism in place right now to increase that margin.
Also calling for a wider review of the entire retail margin structure. All factors, she says, leading some stations to consider closing their doors.
Gas is a terrible business to be in right now, so we are trying to help them so that it is a sustainable business. No business model should not be able to make a profit on its own. down.
In fact, for motorists, the summer forecast for gas may be tougher than ever to say, depending on what happens next with the war.
So a pretty wide range, almost a potential range of $1 a liter this summer. Best outcome, mid-dollar a liter range. Worst outcome, well, we could see mid-$2 a liter range if things really escalate.
Callum Smith, CTV News, Halifax.
Online, the Nova Scotia government is interested in having a transit service connect Halifax with rural communities. You can read the details at ctvnewsatlantic.ca. Is milk a luxury item? With some of the highest prices in Canada and another price hike, milk is a food staple that's getting out of reach for many Maritimers. CTV's McDonald reports.
Walk into the Glace Bay Food Bank these days and you'll get milk, but chances are it'll be in a can.
They would love to have, the cold milk, but unfortunately that price is just outrageous.
Milk prices have gone up 5.5% since 2024, according to this year's Canadian Milk Report. Here at the food bank, it's perhaps little surprise that has impacted donations.
Horribly, actually. People aren't coming in with cases of product anymore. They do still donate, but it's a bag here and there. It's not cases at all.
It's just the sign of the times.
That's coming from a man who for more than a decade has spearheaded a powdered milk drive each fall in his home community. In recent years, Mickey's Milk Drive has been bolstered by big annual donations from a dairy farmer in Prince Edward Island, but even that has been scaled back a bit.
The first couple of years, they gave us a free pallet of milk, which was around $3,000. And then last year, because of the enormous amount of people that are looking for donations, they had to cut it to half a pallet of milk.
There's going to be a significant impact on people's grocery budgets and whether people can afford to use milk at all.
The consumer research company behind the report that visited 180 stores across the country to come up with its numbers says the price hikes are among the worst here in the Maritimes.
Anywhere from 7 to 31% higher than the national average.
As for whether there might be any relief in sight, Jeff Doucette says that sometimes competition causes price to come down a bit in the short term.
But I've never seen milk prices actually drop from survey to survey. And like I said, we've been doing this since 2014.
Back at the Glace Bay Food Bank, the coordinator figures these cans will likely run out by September or October. She says that could mean a plea to the public around that time, adding that for now, client registrations continue to go up.
We're seeing the working class now. We're seeing our working class.
And the study found that the most expensive 2% milk in the country is in Charlottetown, where a 4-liter container of it costs just under $9.25. Here at this grocery store in Sydney, it isn't that much better, with a 4-liter jug coming in at about $7.50. Todd.
Okay, Ryan McDonald at the store in Sydney. Thank you for that, Ryan. Copper theft has become so frequent, so damaging, it has wiped out communications to entire communities. The problem is so bad now, the Canadian Senate has chimed in, insisting it's time for a fix. Here's CTV's Nick Moore.
The Senate report is titled Stolen Signal and says copper theft is far more than an inconvenience, but a pressing public safety threat across Canada, including this region.
It's a little outside the box for the Senate Transport and Communications Committee to look at a criminal law problem, but because copper wire theft has such a devastating impact on communications infrastructure across the country, we wanted to take a moment to see what we could bring to an understanding of why this was such a problem.
The report, released this week, takes from testimony presented in late 2024, where telecommunications and utility officials made a push for more action.
Despite years of mitigation efforts, copper theft remains persistent, fueled by high copper prices.
It's only become a bigger problem since then. Bell Canada, which is the owner of CTV, says copper theft affecting its infrastructure went up by about 30% last year, and that 2026 has already seen a series of coordinated incidents that happened in January, followed more recently with stolen copper causing communication outages in the Fredericton area. In Nova Scotia, the RCMP are investigating several copper theft incidents from last week that were reported across Cumberland County. The Senate report says the federal government needs to do more to create a national strategy.
There is an issue of people crossing provincial boundaries to sell in one province what they've stolen in another. And so it's really important that provinces have some form of coordination.
The Senate report is calling for provinces and territories to beef up regulations on the sale of copper, along with changes to Canada's criminal code. Bill C-14, which could create tougher penalties for crimes that involve critical infrastructure, passed through the House of Commons in February and is currently working its way through the Senate. Nick Moore, CTV News, St. John.
Get the Maritime's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
A ceiling fan is being blamed for starting a house fire that caused significant damage today in New Minas in the Annapolis Valley of Nova Scotia. Officials say the electrical fire started under the roof. The home sits on Highbury Road. Call came in around 10:30 this morning. 3 people were able to escape the flames. An investigation remains underway. It was going to make a big impact on the housing crisis. The city of Halifax would require developers to make sure their buildings had a certain number of affordable units. Now that plan has been shelved. CTV's Jesse Thomas tells us why.
Halifax Council had hoped that implementing an inclusionary zoning policy would have allowed them to increase the affordable housing stock in new housing developments. Instead, they got a report suggesting the policy doesn't work, suggesting developers can't absorb the costs of making units affordable.
It was a gut punch because when we first started down this journey several years ago and the province gave us the authority to do it, we sent staff away to go look at how we could make it happen. Not if, how we could make it happen.
Large-scale high-rise developments in Halifax, for the most part, are all rental towers. And according to the report, the private developers building them are doing so on tight margins.
There's just no room for us to mandate affordable units because essentially you'd either be jacking up rents so high in those buildings to subsidize those affordable rents that no one could afford the apartments, which we're getting close to anyway.
This affordable housing executive says the inclusionary zoning policy in principle makes sense, but the economics on the ground don't support it.
The challenge with the program has been you're asking private developers who are operating in a financialized housing market to do something that they're not experts at. You're trying to create a market method where they collaborate with a sector that doesn't want to collaborate with them in the nonprofit housing sector either.
The Affordable Housing Association says government is better to collaborate with agencies like them and not-for-profits who specialize in building affordable housing. And they say the programs already exist to build more affordable units. They just need more government investment.
It takes time for that to work. You know, I would much rather government double, triple, quadruple down on these programs and allow us to do the good work we're already doing.
Cleary says council may revisit inclusionary zoning down the road if the economics make sense, but as for solving the affordable housing problem, both he and Cablin say it'll take time and more development and investment. Jesse Thomas, CTV News, Halifax.
A former nightclub in Moncton is now the home of a health facility, and a recent expansion will help produce more healthcare workers with the growing demand in the province. CTV's Derek Haggett has more.
A $3 million expansion project should go a long way to strengthening New Brunswick's healthcare workforce. Olton College in Moncton has opened a dedicated health services campus with state-of-the-art training spaces that have the capacity for over 500 nursing students. The health minister says when professionals train in the province, it increases the likelihood they'll stay here.
We're still shy of a number of healthcare providers, and so this is huge. This is probably one of the more exciting parts of our time in government. We want to support our healthcare workers. To do that, we need to have more of them so that they're comfortable in their workplace.
The new Elmwood Health Campus will provide a Bachelor of Science in Nursing, as well as practical nursing and paramedic programs.
We need more health professional, and so we will be able to have a registered nurse coming from this college in the New Brunswick system in a really near future.
The college is located in what used to be a number of bars and nightclubs in years past.
You know, that's exactly what I was remembering when I visited the facility back in June 2025, and I was not completely sure if it was a bar here. Using the facility now to be able to train people, having bachelor offers, and different courses, it's amazing.
The simulation labs mirror real-world environments, allowing students to gain experience in hospital-like settings. Derek Haggett, CTV News, Moncton.
Time for our first break of the evening. Still to come, clouds, showers, and patchy drizzle tonight. Kalen will have the full forecast. But first, U.S. President Donald Trump insists the war in Iran is almost over. We'll get the latest.
It's day 8 of the U.S. ceasefire with Iran, and all eyes on the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports. How Iran is now responding and what the White House is saying. I'm Olivia Rubin with those details coming up.
International news now, and U.S. President Donald Trump is expressing confidence that the war in Iran could soon end. But that country's foreign ministry spokesperson says America must prove it's serious. ABC's Olivia Rubin has details from Washington.
Today, more than halfway through the 2-week ceasefire, President Trump saying the end of the war is near, expressing optimism to Fox News.
I think it's close to over, yeah. I mean, I view it as very close to over.
But no deal has been made. The last round of in-person talks failing. The White House saying this today.
It's obviously in the best interest of Iran to meet the president's demands. I think he's made his red lines in these negotiations very clear.
And the U.S. military issuing this new threat as they enforce a blockade around Iranian ports to choke off trade.
If you do not comply with this blockade, we will use force. The whole of the United States Navy is ready to force compliance.
And Iran with its own threat to the U.S., calling the blockade illegal and warning they'll block the flow of more exports in the region, potentially hurting the global economy even more. As oil hovers around $92 a barrel, the International Monetary Fund with this warning.
But if the conflict persists and oil prices stay high for an extended period, we must brace for tough times ahead.
Vice President J.D. Vance has been leading the negotiations with Iran, acknowledging the difficulty.
After 49 years, there's a lot of course, mistrust between Iran and the United States of America. You're not going to solve that problem overnight.
And today, a delegation from Pakistan, the chief mediators here, arriving in Iran, where they're expected to discuss the potential for new in-person talks with the United States, though nothing has been scheduled just yet. Olivia Rubin, ABC News, Washington.
Still to come tonight, another mostly gray April day ahead for Thursday. We're getting used to it, aren't we? Kalen Mitchell has the forecast after this commercial break. Well, it's still a nice day. Take a walk, especially off leash.
Dog on the loose.
Get the zoomies out.
That's right.
That's a shot, a live shot right now of Truro. 7 degrees.
Hey, we don't often get an action shot. That's pretty cool to see.
That's great. Yeah. It looks like, boy, that's some heavy cloud cover.
When are these gray skies going to clear
up?
That's the question.
Put on a happy face.
That's right. Yeah. Looks like it's going to begin Friday, but it's kind of a gradual, slow clearing trend.
Okay.
Start of the weekend looks like it's going to be pretty nice on Saturday. Let's take a look at weather conditions across the country quickly, and then we'll get back to our forecast here in the Maritimes. Beginning out west, Vancouver, 9 degrees right now, 6 in Victoria. Calgary sitting at 2 degrees, and currently it's at 14 in Regina and at 15 in Winnipeg. But there's a special weather statement out for southern areas of Saskatchewan and Manitoba. Temperatures are going to be coming down. You know, Saskatoon's already sitting at -3, and there's a bit of a mix of some snow, ice pelts, even a little bit of risk of some freezing rain on its way in for that part of the country. Moving off towards the east, it's very mild in southern Ontario right now. It's 19 degrees, rain being reported at Windsor, 19 at Toronto with a mix of sun and cloud. Cools to 10 for Ottawa, and then 8 at Montreal. Here in the Maritimes, 9 at Fredericton, 5 at Halifax, and 6 at Charlottetown. It's chilly at St. John's right now, sitting at -1, and in Labrador, -2 at Happy Valley Goose Bay, and sitting at 2 degrees at Labrador City. Taking a look at our timeline for cloud cover and precipitation. So throughout the night tonight, we're going to have some patchy drizzle and fog that's going to persist. The drizzle and fog most widespread around coastal areas, but there's also some scattered showers that are working their way out of the state of Maine and towards parts of New Brunswick. So some showers could be in the mix as well. The cloud cover remains in place, and that type of weather, it lingers into Thursday. Thursday morning, there'll be a round of showers that comes across the southwest of Nova Scotia throughout the day for tomorrow. There'll be some areas that see some patchy drizzle or lighter showers and some fog around as well, and that cloud cover still around. And the cloudy skies linger into Thursday evening and Thursday night. This is what a band of rain is going to make its way over the St. Lawrence River Valley in Quebec into northern areas of New Brunswick. And then moving through Thursday night into early Friday morning, this band of rain works its way across the Maritimes from the northwest off towards the east. When that rain clears, and that'll happen through the day on Friday for Prince Edward Island and Nova Scotia, then we start that gradual clearing trend that will continue into the start of the weekend as an area of high pressure moves in from the north. Taking a look at winds in the forecast for tomorrow, they remain mostly out of an easterly direction. Tomorrow's winds, though, more to the east and southeast. Today, they were kind of out of the east and northeast. And because they're a little bit more to the southeast for tomorrow, it will allow a couple of temperatures to get a little bit warmer than it was today. Not by much, though. Taking a look at low temperatures in the forecast for tonight, most of the Maritimes can expect lows to fall into a range around the low to mid single digits. And then high temperatures in the forecast for tomorrow in the north of New Brunswick, 6 to 8 degrees in the northeast, then in the northwest, some between 8 and 11. Milder temperatures continue moving south in New Brunswick around western parts of the province. High temperatures there, 10 to 12 degrees, so close to 8 for Campobello and Grand Manan. 12 for Sussex for tomorrow and 11 for Moncton. In Prince Edward Island, high temperatures on Thursday between 7 and 11 degrees. In Cape Breton, the high temperatures between 5 and 8 degrees. Around the north shore of Nova Scotia, high temperatures of 9 to 11. On the eastern shore, though, for the coastal areas, cooler with highs between 4 and 7. 10 for Amherst, 11 for Truro, 7 for the city centers Halifax and Dartmouth, 6 at Chester and Lunenburg, 11 at Kentville and Middleton for tomorrow in the valley, and same thing goes for Digby. On the south shore of Nova Scotia, looking at 8 for Liverpool and Shelburne, near 10 for Yarmouth. In the extended forecast, start of the weekend for New Brunswick, mix of sun and cloud, could have some high temperatures up into the mid-teens. Now on Sunday, it's cloudier again, and there's expected to be some rain that will develop as a weather front moves in from the west. That'll be followed by a chance of some lingering showers on Monday, and then back to a mix of sun and cloud for Tuesday and Wednesday. But next Tuesday, temperatures looking a little bit chilly by mid-April standards in the region. For Nova Scotia in the outlook, we have some showers in the forecast for Friday. It's followed by clearing to a mix of sun and cloud for the start of the weekend on Saturday. Some high temperatures getting into the low teens, cooler in Cape Breton and parts of the coast. Some rain arriving late in the day on Sunday, lingering in some showers into Monday, and then over to a mix of sun and cloud, but cool to chilly temperatures on Tuesday of next week. And for Prince Edward Island, coming up on Friday, showers in the forecast, a mix of sun and cloud on Saturday with highs near 10 degrees. There's expected to be some rain that arrives Sunday night, lingers with some showers into Monday, a little bit of clearing into Tuesday of next week, though temperatures a little bit chilly with a high near 4. Todd.
Okay, thank you, Kalen. We'll see you later in the show. Young Maritimers are choosing careers in the skilled trades. Next, we'll hear from an advocate who's encouraging to be safety smart. Stay with us.
Okay, so it's back Monday morning, Virgin Radio's 5K a day.
Yeah, you'll get those keywords with us starting after 7 a.m.
You could also win a $100 gas card with us tomorrow morning at 7:30. Good luck.
Welcome back. National Safety and Health Week is approaching, and this is the time of year, of course, where many Maritimers are getting ready to graduate. Many will go on to start new careers or summer jobs, a lot of them perhaps in skilled trades. Candace Carnahan is a founder of Step Up Your Safety. She's encouraging and educating young people to focus on safety, and she joins us in studio, and it is great to have you.
Thank you, Todd.
This is a cause that's very personal to you because you endured it. A workplace incident.
Absolutely, yeah. I was injured working as a summer student at a paper mill in my hometown of Miramichi, and I stepped over top of a unguarded machine, and also no emergency stop system. But The real issue, I think, is, of course, I mean, your employer is responsible for taking those measures, but when we're talking to youth, we want to educate and equip them to go into the workplace and know that they shouldn't take it for granted that an employer or their coworkers are making the safest choices on their behalf.
So this is a program that you've put together,
yes.
and you're using it, as I mentioned, to educate young people. And there really is a lot of urging young people to get into skilled trades. We know we need them. We know there's lots of positions to fill. Is the safety component keeping up with the amount of work that's being done to get people into the skilled trades?
I mean, I think it's definitely improving and it's getting better, but the missing piece is that, think about high school. I had Mothers Against Drunk Driving coming in. I knew about drinking and driving. They talk about safe sex. We talk about a lot of messaging in high school that young people then have in their library of tools. But workplace health and safety typically is only broached if you are in a co-op program or a program with a workplace component. That being said, so many young workers are out there and they aren't in those programs. So we're leaving it up to whatever their employer is going to tell them to be the benchmark for what they understand.
Right. A lot of these young Maritimers, and many of them teenagers, it could be their very first job and might be reluctant to speak up. If they see what they determined that they think might be a risk, what do you tell them? How should they handle something like that?
I say trust your gut. I say asking a question can save your life. No job is worth it. And also, you have something to bring to the workplace because you have fresh eyes. So you're learning, hopefully, how to do things the safe way, the correct way, right? And so then we have to appeal to the more seasoned workers as well to say, maybe you can get away with taking that risk, but be cognizant of the fact somebody is looking to you for answers. They might not be asking you questions. They're watching to see what you're going to do next. Are you okay? Are you confident that the example you're setting is a safe one?
Labor laws have improved over the years. Yeah. I think the corporation industry are much more cognizant, much more savvy about this issue, yet we still hear there was a couple of examples in the past few weeks in New Brunswick and Nova Scotia of workplace death.
I know.
So they're still unfortunately common.
And so, you know, I hope this message appeals to parents. Do you know where your children are working? What you don't know can hurt you. You know, we weren't talking about this back in the day.
Well, I was going to ask you about that. You know, do parents have a role here?
Absolutely they do. You might think as a parent that your kids, when they're home, will tell you if they don't want to do something, or they'll tell you, you know, what's on their mind. But it's a very different ballgame when they go into the workplace and they're trying to impress, they're trying to fit in, and they want to be seen as a person who knows how to get the job done, right? So a parent's support in saying, yes, great that you've got this job. Good for you. But keep in mind, the most important thing is your health and safety. You know, and through my program, there are tip sheets for parents. Safety happens over the dinner table, right? And many parents are still going to work at places that obviously could also cause harm.
So these students are taking this messaging from you back to their parents who, you know, so they're passing that message along. What are you hearing from young people? You've done some work in New Brunswick in particular, and I know you speak around the world on this. What's the reaction from young people who may not put a lot of thought into this and then hear from you?
You know what's interesting, Todd, is that in the beginning, 25 years ago, I didn't expect a lot of young people to put their hand up when I said, how do you feel about safety in the workplace? I thought that what happened to me was this 1 in a million incident, because we weren't having these conversations. If you're not talking about it, you're not thinking about it. If you're not thinking about it, you're not acting on it, right? And youth did feel threatened at work or uncomfortable or like they couldn't speak up way back then. It hasn't changed. Young people do feel more empowered. They do feel, I believe, that they have a voice. Not that they didn't then, but you know what I mean? They can speak up. However, there's still that fear of, will I lose my job, or what will people think? And you know what? I feel that years ago, more young people were working for extra money, for leisure activities, to go to the movies and whatnot. And a lot of youth now are going to work to help their parents put food on the table and to help out with the family and whatnot. So the stakes are higher.
I only have a few seconds left here.
Yeah.
Companies are getting better at listening to. Are they?
They're looking, more companies are seeing safety as the investment that it is, as opposed to an expense or an extra or a nice to have. It is the most important thing, and it will impact your bottom line, not to mention bringing people home safely, which is the top of the list, but in a positive way. The safest companies are the most profitable ones, and they attract the brightest and the best.
Candace Carnahan, thank you very much.
Thank you,
It's
Todd.
an important message, and I know there are tools available online if people want to.
StepUpYourSafety.com.
Yeah, okay, that's great. We'll have you back in. There's more to talk about.
Wonderful.
And there's more of our show after this. Stay with us. In medical news tonight, they are very popular. Now we're learning of other ways GLP-1 weight loss drugs can impact health. CTV's Amanda Debison has details in the midweek edition of The Lifeline.
Not everyone on GLP-1 drugs like Wegovy drops weight. Clinical trials suggest about 10 to 15% of people who try them are non-responders when it comes to substantial weight loss. However, there is mounting evidence showing other health benefits from GLP-1 medications besides losing weight. GLP-1s can reduce the risk of heart attacks and strokes and improve outcomes in heart failure, even when participants don't lose weight or if they gain weight. According to new findings from researchers at the University of Toronto, the drugs may also improve liver health. Their ability to tamp down inflammation may be a key reason the drugs help with heart conditions and kidney disease in ways independent of weight loss. Google says it's trying to help people with mental health challenges find high-quality information and crisis support by updating its Gemini platform. Google says the AI tools can play a positive role in improving people's mental health, especially if a person is experiencing a crisis. Google plans to add a system that will direct users to mental health hotlines when people feel they may harm themselves. Users will be connected to a crisis hotline website where they can chat, call, or text someone. Google says it plans to spend tens of millions of dollars over the next 3 years in global crisis hotlines, and it will introduce a Help is Available tool when users are talking about mental health. Finally, south of the border, a hospital in Idaho unveiled its new surgical system called Da Vinci 5. The robotic surgical system is used for minimally invasive procedures and is bringing cutting-edge medical techniques to patients. The new system supports more advanced surgeries, including abdominal and pelvis. The hospital's medical director says this upgrade gives patients access to newer medical procedures closer to home. With Health and Medical News, I'm Amanda Debison for The Lifeline.
We're on the scene now with the upcoming premiere of a new movie made and set here at home. Little Lorraine opens this weekend. It's based on a song by Adam Baldwin, which is then based on a true story. Baldwin and one of the film's stars joined Your Morning Atlantic earlier today to talk about the film.
Think about how we're going to put food on the table.
Whether or not you've heard the song before is not important. There's parts of this movie that, just, you know, if you know the story from my song, there's still things.
Some surprises
Yes,
left.
exactly.
Yes. It's been too long.
Where's the cash? Next time, bring a proper boat, eh?
If we get this done, a month or two, we're out clean.
I've been starved for an opportunity like this my whole career. To do something here at home, to tell a story based on real, hardworking, you know, blue-collar types. To get to do an accent, too, was really fun. And just, yeah, I had so much passion for this project and everybody involved. I'm a big fan of Adams as a person and as a performer. So when I saw this audition come down the pipeline, I basically told my agents right away, I was like, there's no way I'm not doing this. You know, I have to be involved.
This world is made of pigs and Pepsis. Now, if you want to be a pig, some days you
gotta get dirty in the slots.
But I was thrilled just to drive into Lewisburg, which is where my father's from, and to see a film crew there, 150 people working on a story that's from that town, and it was that was whatever. Seeing yourself on the big screen is a bit of a trip. My kids got a kick out of it, but I was really thrilled to see all the fuss that was going on in Lewisburg.
Well, there's no place quite like Cape Breton, so you're not gonna find a lot of those locations that we got anywhere else. And it was so important to the community to have this film shot there. There was so much passion put into it by everybody that could help did help, and it was kind of a real community experience for a lot of people. So yeah, it was very important that it was shot in Cape Breton. There was absolutely nowhere else quite like it.
What the hell did you get us into, Jim?
This Saturday at 2 o'clock at the Member 2 Convention Center, Adam will join some of the cast and crew of Little Lorraine for a kickoff party featuring music from the Men of the Deeps and Amy Smith. The film has 9 screenings this weekend. They're all sold out. Certainly a good sign for that movie. Okay, we'll take a break. We'll wrap things up after this.
With Aaron and Peter. We're getting you all decked out with Kent. You can win $2,000 in brand new patio furniture and decor.
Enter once an hour at our website, move100halifax.ca.
The Dow Jones trade at the end of the trading day, down 72 points. A New York jury says Live Nation, the entertainment company, operated as a harmful monopoly. BNN Bloomberg's Marla Fernandez has more.
This verdict is a big blow to Live Nation, which is a $36 billion company. 33 states and Washington, D.C. were suing Live Nation, accusing the company of locking out competition and overcharging customers about $1.70 a ticket. The states are seeking $700 million. Some also want Live Nation to sell Ticketmaster, its ticketing agent. Last year, Live Nation organized more than 55,000 concerts around the world. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is up to 72.84. West Texas Intermediate hasn't changed much. It's at 88.13. Western Canadian Select down over $4 to 70.34. And the TSX gained 53 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
Kaylin decided to go outside without the umbrella. Was that a good choice?
It's okay out here right now. There's just a very light drizzle that's falling, and that'll be the case for parts of the Maritimes as we move through tonight, though some showers possible around western New Brunswick. Let's take a look at our viewer picture for tonight, and this is a nice one. This is featuring a halo, and we got a couple sundogs as well. Those are the brighter spots on either side of the sun, which of course is in the center of that halo. This picture was taken by Rob Tom, was sent in from Lower Greenwich, New Brunswick. As I mentioned, for tonight in the Maritimes, it is going to be cloudy with some patchy showers, drizzle, and fog. And Lower Greenwich for tomorrow, now the cloud cover lingers, and there will still be a chance of drizzle throughout the day. The high temperature near 10 degrees. Start of the day for tomorrow around the Maritimes, we start off with some patchy fog and drizzle. There'll be some showers moving across southwestern areas of Nova Scotia. Morning temperatures mostly around the low to mid single digits. And tomorrow afternoon, looking a lot like it was today. Let's find out what's coming up on your Morning Atlantic.
Thursday on Your Morning Atlantic, from Hollywood to Hollywood.
Latavia has an exclusive visit to the set of the cult favorite horror series From, ahead of its season 4 premiere.
Start your morning with us Thursday on Your Morning Atlantic on CTV2 and Crave.
Then at 6 o'clock on defections and by-elections, Murphy's Logic returns with suggestions for a different way of dealing with floor crossing in Parliament. Majority Rules, that's tomorrow here at 6 and live on Crave. And finally for us tonight, this is International McDonald's Day. I don't know who got to decide that. Nevertheless, one fan has been feeding his own happiness in everything McDonald's. 71 years ago today, Ray Kroc opened his first McDonald's outside of Chicago, and decades later, a man in Texas has been on a mission to, well, collect as much as he could. Since then, His name is Bobby Beauchesne, and for most of his life, he's been collecting food and drink packaging and advertising. Now he focuses exclusively on the Golden Arches. He owns more than 40,000 pieces of its history. Bobby says the entire top floor of his home is devoted to McDonald's. That is our look at the day here at home. Bruce Frisco here at 11:30. The web and the app has our updates. I'm Todd Battis. Hope to see you tomorrow. Good night.
CTV News, the Maritime's #1 newscast. Watch live on Crave.